And Local Live is a production of WMSE Radio, broadcast tonight from Club Garibaldi. Please give a very warm welcome to our musical guests for tonight, Liar's Trial.
I'm guilty. Every good work pulled away from every house in 49. Inside them walls away, the only ones I ever loved. Just to get so sick of that and daily grind. I'm guilty when I clock up for the day, 'cause the hours never add up like they should. If I'd work a couple more, would struggle like I do, like I was doing my girls no good. But that's alright. I come in loud to know which road I'm on. These lungs are made to breathe, and out of this conscience got me reeling like this heart it made to sing that country song. I know more every other good time as it does it on my bed. I'm just waiting around to tear my world down. I'm guilty when I'm wrong, I'm guilty when I'm right, yeah, I've been guilty damn near all my life. I'm guilty when I packed up my guitar, the little girl asked Papa, you gone belong. I say I'll be back before you know it. I see a mama roll her eyes, she knows how I am when I get to picking songs. I'm guilty, bad at remembering my friends who try so hard to keep up on the wall. Like the only time I see him was lying in a coffin. We're talking about how I really meant to call. But that's alright. Come in loud to know which road I'm on. These lungs are made to breathe, and like this conscience got me reeling, like this heart it beats sings that country song. I know more every other good time as it does it on my bed. I'm just waiting around to tear my world down. I'm guilty when I'm wrong, I'm guilty and I'm right, yeah, I've been guilty damn near all my life. But that's alright. I'm coming out to know which road I'm on. These lungs are made to breathe, and I just think I'm meant to live, and like this heart it beats sings that country song. Every other good time as it does it on my bad time, waiting around to tear my world down. I'm guilty when I'm wrong, I'm guilty when I'm right, yeah, I've been guilty damn near all my life. I'm guilty. Guilty when I'm wrong, I'm guilty when I'm right, yeah, I'm guilty. But damn near all my life. Thank you very much.
Brian, you got some pipes. That's awesome. Did you start singing at a young age, or did you start singing at a young age, or did you always like to sing?
I think so. There's tapes that my mom had that were, God, I must have been like 3 or 4, singing like the Oak Ridge Boys and the Osborne Brothers, the Rocky Top song that they did and made really popular. So I must have been like fairly young when I was singing, but I didn't really learn how to sing until I got to my mid to late 30s.
Fair enough. So when you were in the punk bands versus the country bands, I'm assuming you had a hand in writing some lyrics for
No, not
both.
at all, actually.
No, I was just gonna ask you. What's easier to write, a punk lyric or a punk song or a country song, lyrically speaking?
Well, it's funny because when this band started, we had a lot more punk leanings, and we, our first two albums, especially the Songs About Mama album, there's some, punk songs on there. Some pretty good punk songs. And I wrote a couple songs that I thought were, pretty good punk songs that were going to make into these crossover country songs, and they were just pretty awful. And I don't even think I showed them to the guys because there just wasn't. I couldn't put my heart into those songs. And I don't know if it's because of my age or experience or whatever. I couldn't do it. So when I write the songs now, a lot of it's just they come up usually when I don't have a guitar. So usually when I'm driving or in the shower washing dishes, somewhere where I don't have a guitar, and just some thought pops into my mind, or I hear somebody say something and I'm like, oh, that would make a good song. Or I start to reminisce about something that's bothering me. So that song that we just played, Road I'm On, that one's about just all the different ways that you can get pulled in different directions in your life. It starts off talking about how I go to work, I feel guilty, and I clock out for the day because I feel guilty and my boss wants me to stay there longer. Then I go to play music, but my family's sitting there saying, well, we want you to come home. And then getting to the age where I got lots of friends that are starting to die, and everybody's talking about, oh, well, we wish that we were, had called that person. They hadn't, we didn't. We're all sitting around talking about that, and regretting things that we could have done. So, things like that. That's a good example. This last song was a good example of, my songwriting process. Just things that started to kind of weigh on my mind, and never had a need to see a psychiatrist because I just write all my stuff into songs. Then everybody else can hear them and you guys can interpret them.
It is the best therapy, isn't it? Writing.
Yes.
So I'm assuming your album title is a riff on the Garth Brooks 1990 release, Friends in Low Places. So when that record came out, what were your thoughts on that record? Were you a big fan?
The Garth Brooks record? I think Garth Brooks ruined country music. I can't stand Garth Brooks. John, Chris here likes Garth Brooks just fine. He likes Chris Gaines.
First ever Chris Gaines reference on Local Live, I gotta say.
Okay. And Patrick likes his hair. No, I think his music's terrible. But the reason that we were kicking around funny album titles. The one that was right before this one was Armadillo by Morning, and that was a George Strait play on words. And we were kicking around album titles, and we've had this run of shows where people don't show up, and one of them was actually in this room. And we were the first band on, and by the time the third band had gone on, the room was full. But when we started, we were, it was us and the sound guy, and it was really kind of embarrassing. And we're looking at each other like, I think this is a bad idea, guys. And so we were like, well, we could call it Friends in No Places, and the covers got me looking out at an empty bar, and it was just kind of a commentary on playing empty houses.
It was at Kochanski's at a show.
Yeah, it was at a show at Kochanski's. It was actually after the show had ended. There were actually people at that show, thank God. But it was just a funny way for us to make a commentary about folks not coming to shows, and also still stay in that theme of country music album titles. We haven't figured out what the next one's going to be, what album number 5 is going to be yet. Hopefully it's as good.
There's so many options.
There are a lot.
Did you find that when you transitioned kind of away from the punk rock, that a lot of your fans stuck around and made the transition with you into more straightforward country?
They did when I was in High Lonesome. No, not at all. And that's actually why one of the Friends in No Places references, I think, because we started out, we'd play shows with Captured by Robots, which for everybody that doesn't know is a band with one main guy and a robot entourage that plays all of his drums and guitars and stuff like that. And it's more metal. So we played shows with Captured by Robots. We played with The Members, who's a 77 UK punk band, which was an awesome show. But throughout all these, we were kind of the oddballs out. And we didn't really have a vision for what we wanted the band to be, because in those couple early years, from about 2011 to 2014, we were just playing punk music that was, had a country twinge to it. And so then come about 2015 is, when I started thinking like, well, man, these people, are not following us to the shows. They're not, coming out because, I don't know if it's just our age group or our, the music or whatever it is. So we started making things a little bit more decidedly country. And the first show that we got that really catapulted us into what we do now is at Shank Hall. Peter, that runs Shank Hall, put me solo on a show with Billy Joe Shaver, who's one of my songwriting idols. And it was amazing, and it kind of set the stage for everything that we do from this point forward.
See, that's kind of interesting because there's a lot of, crossover between punk and country. Like a lot of punk artists will go on to do country albums, or whether it's permanent or just a temporary thing. But do you have any like heroes as far as like punks that went country? Or it never seems to go the other way. It always seems to be.
Yeah, no, it doesn't seem to go the other way. Not really. There's not a lot of people that I look up to that are. I'm just speaking for myself. There's not a lot of contemporaries that I look up to in that respect. A lot of what I listen to is Chris Christopherson, Billy Joe Shaver. Those are my songwriting idols. David Allan Coe. There's a guy out right now his name is Paul Coffin, and he's fantastic. He just came out with an album last week, or no, 2 weeks ago. That's it's this blend of like funk and country in certain songs, and it's some of the most unique stuff out there, and I can't get enough of it. And I went and saw him at the rave back in April, and there was maybe 20 people there. But I think he might be one of those guys who he seems like he started out doing a little bit heavier stuff. I know Cody Jinks did that too. He started off doing metal, and now he plays country.
I think the punk crowd needs to be a little more open-minded about you guys. Or maybe they just need to get older. Maybe that's really the...
That could be it.
Well, why don't you guys play a couple more songs for us?
Sure. So this next song is called Walls Come Down, and for everybody that's just tuning in, we're Liars Trial, and these are songs off our new albums, Friends in No Places.
Got a sweet little wife that I promise, if she stood by me, would beat any storm. And two little girls at home need food on the table, someone to keep the house warm. Had a good job, living comfortably, just when we thought we had it all. I see that expect to fall. I know, it seems alright now. This life's too brave, is gonna tear it all down. And I know, the walls come down hard, waiting for the cars to fall. For the cars to fall. Saw the writing on the wall 2 months ago, when the world was getting ready to slow. boss said I could donate my time. I couldn't commit, but show me the door. And I see him coming now. I know, it seems alright now. The slightest of a breeze is gonna tear it all down. And I know, the walls come down hard, waiting for the cars to fall. Waiting for the cars to fall. I know, it seems alright now. The slightest of dreams is gonna tear it all down. And I know, the walls come down hard, waiting for the cars to fall. Waiting for the cars. Oh. Thank you very much.
This is that point in the show where I think we need to say hi to some folks at home. I want to say hi to my beautiful wife Tamara, Lily, Penny, and Everett, who I know are listening on the radio. Patrick. On Patrick's behalf, because he doesn't have a mic, I'm saying hi to Hazel, Winona, and Brittany. Chris, you want to say hi to anybody?
Say hi, Mom and Dad.
Say hi, Mom and Dad, in case that didn't come through. Andy?
My dog's at home alone. Hi, Mike. Oh, boy.
I hope the radio's on. We'll play another one real quick. This next song is going to be called Just Me and the Silence. This is another one off our new album, Friends in No Places.
That red sun sinking deep below that ridge, just like a nice star. It's sinking deep below these leaves. Keep trying to convince myself there are worse things than dying every day. Another night with the same old TV on. Now I'm getting back to bottles just to make it to the light of the dawn. So look around it, my every reminder that this used to be my home. In the night, when shadows play cruel games, the walls closing tight, the memory haunts my brain, it won't let it go. It's starting to show. I can keep it together while the sun is shining, but while all the power is just me in the silence. In the night. Maybe it's a picture smiling back at me, but it's getting a little harder now to separate the ghost from me. Last night I did a murder in the bedroom. Another night with the same old TV on. Now I'll get back on bottles just to make it to the light of the dawn. Where is she now? Lord, I only hope that she won't please. In the night, when shadows play cruel games, the walls closing tight, the memory haunts my brain, it won't let it go. It's starting to show. I can't keep it together while the sun is shining, but I'm all the power and it's just me in the silence. In the night. solitude will end. But I know that I will not rest until I'm there with her again. In the night, the shadows play through games of always closing eyes. The memory haunts my brain, it won't let it go. It's not the show. I can feel it together while the sun is shining, but I thought all of my witness was me in the silence. In the night, in the night, in the night.
That's Liar's Trial on WMSE's Local Live. Of course, we are down at Club Garibaldi. Our audience is very shy with their questions. They have a limited amount of time to get them into us if they want to ask the band anything pressing. But of course, we've got a few of our own left here. We want to get to the new album. You told us a little bit about your writing process. As far as the lyrics go, I'm wondering if you guys had any specific direction in mind when, as far as the music, as far as the style you were going to go into, or is it something that, like, the songs kind of dictate that?
Well, I know whenever I write a song, like I'm typically the one that writes the songs and brings them to the guys, and then we all kind of collaborate how we're going to make them be a Liar's Trial song. And a lot of times, it definitely morphs. I'm sitting down thinking I'm going to write, some traditional country music song, and then I bring it to the guys. And Johnson loves a lot of, like he would love it if it was Keith Richards, and that's amazing. So then,
dub reggae and surf music.
Yeah, Pink Floyd, dub reggae, surf music. He'd love to have all those things be incorporated in, and he tries. And Chris and I have been playing music together for over 15 years, and so he's my best friend when it comes to doing that kind of stuff. And so he can influence me that way a little bit. A lot of times they come to the band with something, and they're like, "Oh, what about this thing? What about this other thing?"
And we mess it all up.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So
Take your sad country songs and make them into dance tunes, you funkify, or
yeah, I had this great song. It was like,
you should
just
see
real
the
nice,
looks he
like
gives
sitting
us,
on the porch
looks he
singing a
gives
song,
us.
and we turned it into a funk anthem. But I think it sounds cool. It's not recorded yet, but it's just part of our process.
Well, Keith Richards played some good country songs from time to time, so.
And the thing is, too, not to cut you off, but the thing is, there's so many people that are traditional country and going with a more traditional sound, and trying to harken back to something that was decades ago. And so, looking at all these other folks that are contemporaneously doing stuff at the same time in the genre, it's nice to be able to look at our record, Friends in No Places, and be like, oh, we incorporated some really weird stuff in here that hopefully makes it stand out from the other folks. I mean, when we were recording, there were references to everything from Ronnie Millsap to Typo Negative, the Cranes. What are some other obscure bands that we referenced that we were like, oh, this part would be kind of cool?
There's some Floyd on the record. There's
King Tubby, Scratch Perry.
Scratch
Right.
Perry.
Oh, good lord. Well, you have to the basis.
I'll have
of
to
that
listen more closely for those references.
The Typo Negative should be very, very up. No, not. It's not going to be obvious.
So I know a lot of country bands that they'll do some collaborations with other artists on stage. Have you guys ever brought in any guests to sing or play with you at a show or on record?
Yeah, and we had kind of a funny story. So it actually intersects a couple different ways. So Billy Don Burns is a country singer, songwriter, mainly a songwriter. He's written songs for Willie Nelson, Connie Smith, most recently Culture Wall and Cody Jinks have cut a couple of his songs. And so we've been booked with him, I want to say 6 or 7 times. We played with him 4 times. Because the first 2 times we were supposed to play, something happened. One time there was a blizzard, and the other time his car broke down. So, we've through that been able to foster a cool relationship with Billy Don Burns, and actually cut one of his songs on our new album. But one of the shows that got canceled, the venue, we were down in Illinois, wanted us to still play, and so we played, and a lot of the folks who came to the door, realizing that Billy Don Burns wasn't playing, went home. Well, there just happened to be this.
All of them.
Yeah, most
all of them.
Yeah, most.
Not
yeah,
some of
yeah,
them.
yeah,
All of them. We played to the bartender and.
And this one guy comes in halfway through the set, and we're talking like a pretty long set. Actually, it was 2 sets, and he says, I just got off a ship. I think it was a cruise ship, playing trumpet, and I just got back into town. Do you care if I go grab my trumpet? It's in the car, and I'll, jam with you guys. And we're like,
play some country trumpet. And we're
sure,
like, okay,
why not?
That sounds nice.
And it was amazing. It was so fun. So we actually wanted to get him in to do something on the record. It just didn't materialize. On our records, and occasionally live, we'll get in Leroy Dooster, who's an amazing lap steel and dobro player. Lap steel, pedal steel, and dobro player. And he's fantastic. He can do, he can hear a song once and do the take perfectly. And we've also collaborated with a couple other friends here and there just to have them, come in and put some little parts on songs.
Okay.
I was going to say that's the only thing you guys are missing is pedal steel, which would sound real cool.
I am missing it out.
Yeah. If we could have gotten Leroy for the show, it would have been perfect.
I want to know, this has been in a lot of country music fans' minds. Have you all been tuning into the Ken Burns documentary, Country Music, which has been airing on PBS?
I've watched, I was just talking to somebody outside about it. So since I've got 3 kids, I've been watching it in 15-minute increments while I'm doing dishes.
Right.
So I'm about 47 minutes right now into episode 4.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's fair. From what you guys all caught, if you did catch it, who did you think, or what did you think about who was featured? And, do you think, was there anything that, you can comment on about, what you saw or what you kind of hoped Ken Burns would have included but didn't?
Anybody else want to say it? Oh, okay.
Oh, man, get on it.
From the first, 3 episodes in 47 minutes, I thought he's done a fantastic job of, taking the little time that you can have and not go into, an insane amount of detail and make a good comprehensive overview. I've read a ton of books about country music history, and
it's a very broad and complex subject. It's like give me 8 hours on jazz, and you can talk about everybody and still miss somebody, still miss important people. It's Ken Burns.
Yeah.
I'm glad he's getting it out there for people to see and to kind of understand where this music came from.
I dig that he tied in the sociocultural elements. He touched on DeFord Bailey and his contributions, and then certain things that were going on racially in the South at the time, and how that influenced country music, but then also had certain negative impacts. So I'm glad he brought some of that in there too, instead of just strictly focusing on the sound or the music, which is why he named the first episode "The Rub." I thought that was pretty cool.
So with all that stuff in mind, spanning the history, the years, the decades of country music, if you guys could all go back in time and be in any decade of country music in particular, which one would you want to time travel to and be abandoned?
I would love to be in the 80s country because I was, but I would love to be playing in the 80s because I'm the only guy in the band and one of the only people that I know, including like my family and stuff, who really loves like Alabama and Ronnie Millsap. And I would love to have done some shows with some of those folks. What about you?
Purely musically speaking. Possibly the 70s, the outlaw country stuff. I do like the modern day amenities like the internet though, so I'm pretty happy right here.
Oh yeah, I'd go on tour with Waylon Jennings, and that would be enough. Not even a long one either. I don't like to travel. How about Pat?
I like the modern stuff, right? I mean, like not like modern country, but there's.
Patrick loves modern country. He just said.
I like.
Patrick loves Florida Georgia Line.
Yeah.
Patrick's actually talking more about the modern folks that are doing the same thing that we're doing. They're just not, Americana, I guess you'd call it.
Sure.
Same Joshua Ray Walker and Morning.
Yeah, Joshua
Star
Ray
and
Walker, folks like that.
All right. Yeah, well, how about a couple more songs while we wind up here?
Speaking of old country, our old bass player quit after our third album, and when I asked him why he quit, he said he couldn't play country music anymore. And so I was like, it'd be kind of funny if somebody who got too lonesome to play country music anymore. So I turned around and wrote the song called "Too Lonesome to Play Those Lonesome Songs Anymore" or No More, and took the verses of each and pasted together different little tidbits from country songs throughout the decades. And folks have really picked up on this song. When we wrote it and recorded it, we were like, it's okay, it's not great. But since we've released it, folks are like, man, this is a great song. So the next song we're gonna play is called "Too Lonesome to Play Them Lonesome Songs No More."
I was raised on Williams, Jones, and Klein. I plugged the jukebox till I was down to my last dime. But since you left, I'm still doing time. Alone here walking the floor, and I'm too lonesome to play them lonesome songs no more. I'm going crazy, just singing these lovesick blues. And I can't help it, thinking maybe he's got you. This ain't just heartaches by the number. I'm way past troubles by the score, and I'm too lonesome to play them lonesome songs no more. And if you ever come home back, I'll leave the record on. You can drop that needle down, and I'll know that you're home. The door is always open. I guess that light don't burn no more, and I'm too lonesome to play them lonesome songs no more. If you ever come on back, I'll leave my record on. And you just drop that needle down, and and we'll dance all night long. Last night I thought I heard your voice, 'cause it's the wreath upon the door, and I'm too lonesome to play them lonesome songs no more. I'm too lonesome to play them lonesome songs no more. I'm too lonesome to play them lonesome songs no more. Thank you. This next song is inspired by a true story. It's the song's called David Allan Coe, Put Me Back on the Wagon. And the two guys that helped me inspire this story are in the live crowd here tonight. So basically, the song's told, I mean, the story's told in the song. But, you know, we got backstage at a David Allan Coe show and couldn't drink for 6 months or 8 months or so afterwards. So, without further ado, this next song is called David Allan Coe, Put Me Back on the Wagon. Well, I woke up Sunday morning with a pound in my head. After the 18th run to the bathroom, Lord, I was wishing I was dead. You see the night before me and the boys see David Allan Coe. Somehow got ourselves up back at that stage just before the show. And whiskey and some good old boys passing around something that kills. I knew that I was in over my head, but I never had a Christian race. Last night that David Allan Coe put me back on the way. We had the good time around Stone Redneck prayed for all. Always too bad is one that no one can recall. Until late old months after I come with the drinking without getting. That's how David Allan Coe put me back on the way. I missed my anniversary and my wife about had mine. She said, if you love Coe more than me, you can sleep out in the grass. And I said, baby, you don't understand, he's a country music star. Sure enough, by 9 o'clock, oh, I was sleeping up in that yard. We had such a good time around Stone Redneck, prayed for all. We'll always do the bad one that no one can recall. And then late on us after I go make a drinking without getting. That's how David Allan Coe put me back on the way. I was sitting in that front row clean and sober. Oh, come back around that next October. He took one look at me and shook his head, sang, Jack Daniels, if you please. By the time that I was dropped back home, I was calling out my knees. We had such a good time around Stone Redneck, prayed for all. Always this bad is one that no one can recall.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for tuning in to tonight's edition of Local Live on WMSE. Local Live is a production of WMSE Radio, recorded and broadcast live from the Bob and Genie Friedman Live Performance Studio on the downtown campus of the Milwaukee School of Engineering. Local Live is produced by Erin Wolf and Cal Roach and engineered by Billy Cicerelli. All video by Moleskin Productions. Hospitality for Local Live artists is provided by Cedar Teeth Pizza, who can be found online at cedarteeth.com, Anodyne Coffee Roasting Company at anodynecoffee.com, and by Sprecher Brewing Company at spreckerbrewery.com. For Local Live videos, follow us at WMSE Milwaukee on YouTube. For upcoming guests and archives of past Local Live performances, visit WMSE.org. And tune in again next Tuesday at 6 p.m. for another edition of Local Live.